Good evening, everybody in the United States. It's morning here in Hong Kong. This is Lisa Grossman. Sorry for the delay in getting started. I was waiting on the wonderful and energetic Rob Moffat, who is very irritated right now because due to technical difficulties, which, yes, even Google experiences from time to time, he's not been able to get into this Hangout to join me in chatting with you, although I'm understanding that he can watch it, which I know is frustrating because he had so many exciting things to share with you this morning. But as is always the case, the show must go on, and I have enlisted the ever wonderful Colin Debris to kind of be here with me just to get this thing kicked off. So I'm
Good evening, everyone.
Live all the way from Hong Kong. I haven't seen y'all in a few weeks, but I hear wonderfully exciting things are happening because Curtis has been sharing these hangouts. He's actually back in the US right now. He arrived back there this morning, your time. And what I was doing while that was happening is I spent the day with the incredible Wendy Lewis and Randy Ray here in Hong Kong. So listening to all of the exciting things that are happening within the company that you're all working with. So it's a very exciting place to be with what's going on. And what I want to talk about today, and it's going to sound rather cliche, but I want to talk about the frustrations that stand right between where you're at and where you want to be. Because the last 8-12 weeks have been very, very exciting. I think that they're setting up a future that is really something that the industry's never seen before. I think it's an amazing opportunity for all of you that are there in the middle of it. But what I know is whenever something like that is going on and you're in the middle of it, there can be a lot of frustrations because business is booming. You're with a company that has literally doubled and doubled its size again in the last year. And even since May, grown exceptionally well. You've got a product with Instantly Ageless that is just, Rob is here. You see, technical difficulties cannot keep a good man down. And they have made it on. Isn't that amazing? And Tiffany, too. The double bonus. You wait and you get bigger bonuses. So, guys. So I was talking about the frustrations that one endures when exciting and phenomenal things are happening. I actually at lunch spent the afternoon yesterday for me, this morning, I guess, for you guys, with Wendy and Randy, and we were talking here in Hong Kong about all of the exciting things that are happening. For example, she didn't know this. I discovered this online. Kate Middleton is a user of Instantly Ageless, and that's in publications all over the UK. So you've got a product that I've really never seen go mainstream excitement. I'll send you the link. All over the world, with this. You've got a company that is expanding hugely in ways that have never been seen before. And there's a lot of change and a lot to learn, or people think there's a lot to learn when something like that is going on. And it can be exciting and jubilant and frustrating. And what happens to a lot of people is they lose their common sense. Because the number one reason that people fail, quit, don't succeed, get on a perpetual merry-go-round of starting over new things or repeating the same 3 months of their lives over and over again in different scenarios is their expectations are off. People quit network marketing because of false expectations. People quit marriages because of false expectations. People quit because they have an unrealistic set of expectations about what should be happening in a situation. They get frustrated and they give in to the banality of what's going on around them. So what I want to do is I want to take a step back and we're going to reduce this to the ridiculous. Because opportunity does not guarantee great success. And those that have great success in life simply expand their thinking and look for solutions where others throw their hands up in the air and join the crowd. And my experience is whatever the crowd is saying or doing, with the exception of going to a football game, it's not something you really want to join in, because the crowd is never going where you want to go. And what you have to ask yourself is, if numbers are continually going up and there's a great track record and it's working for some people, does that not prove that it can work for anybody if you figure out what the some people it's working for are doing? So I always look at two groups of people in life. There are those that are having success to all degrees. You know, the hardest thing to look at, Rob, I think, is the top 2%, because there's such a huge disparity in the top 2% of the population on the planet, because that covers all of the success. You know, from people that are making, you know, 6 figures to people that are making 12 figures, I suppose. And then there's everybody else. And when you get into this top tier, there's still a lot of growth and learning and raising the bar. But people that get there have made the leap of understanding that success is merely meeting obstacles in a different way than everybody else. And and people that are in the top learn to all the time get better at meeting obstacles, better at communicating, more efficient at using time, better at creating teams, better at matching their skill sets to others, and they create greater and greater and greater and greater success. And everybody on the other side of that fence kind of repeats the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you guys, I've watched this team as you've made this transition. And because I don't know, other than some of the leaders, exactly who's receiving the information and who's doing what individually, I know that the team has done phenomenally well. That's a reflection of the leadership. But I don't know what the individuals on the team are doing. I'm sure that some are excelling, some are frustrated, some are throwing up their hands in despair and giving up. But I know that the team at large is moving forward, growing, expanding around the world, which is a reflection of the leadership. So what I wanted to do, now that you guys are here, is I thought what might be fun is if you would share with me, where did you guys go? You all of a sudden went black. I can't see you now. When I click on you, you don't get big, so I guess you have to be little. I don't want to see her. I want to see you. There you are. Ah, and really, where are you guys? That looks so pretty. Rob, Tiff, where are you?
Yeah, we're here.
We're in our backyard.
Oh, it's beautiful. Is summer gorgeous in Utah, all 4 days of it that you get?
Yes.
All right, so tell me, guys, what would you say?
Yeah, it's nice here right now.
It's beautiful. What would you say right now is the number one thing that people are doing right, and the number one challenge that you're seeing people have?
Well, I think you know, what we've seen so far with our team is you know, even some people that haven't had much success when we were just Mint are now being able to broaden their horizons, making with the skincare has really added a whole nother dimension to people's arsenal, I guess you'd say. And you know, and so Tiffany's really, you know, as her, you know, contacts has really opened up, because now she's got a lot of friends that are just really like, tell me more. And so we think that the people like the, you know, that struggle in Mint are having a lot of success right now, just because of the fact that they are, you know, able to, you know, not only share energy drinks or protein shakes, but also skincare.
Yeah, I think it's been easier for a lot of people to do the inviting with just the smaller the packet of the instantly age or invite list and the product, I think, is what is going really well for people.
And I think the biggest challenge, Lisa, going forward for us was Mint was hot. I mean, Mint was really cooking, and our teams were growing, and so I think, you know, people always want to take a step back when change happens. They're a little more leery of what the future looks like, but the people that have really grasped hold of Jeunesse and the opportunity that we have now, they're starting to really flourish, and so we're seeing a lot of people have a lot of success that we're struggling in MYNT.
Okay, well, sorry, Tiff, go ahead. Tiff, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, sorry. All right, then let me share with you from this perspective. When I look at network marketing, and I've been doing it a long time, and I love it, let's talk about marketing in general. All of us make two mistakes, I think, in marketing. I think that that you have to love and be passionate about the product or a product that you market, without question. You really, really do. You certainly don't have to be passionate about all of them. And that was one of the things when I first came into network marketing. That's why I always started to gravitate toward companies that had, like a lead product or something that you could talk, that most people could talk about, that was easy, that led into the others. Because education scares me when it comes to products. And then, by the way, I'm not criticizing it. It works for some people, but I think that all of network marketing is an educational process. I think that if you're going to take a step back and be really smart about it, you have to realize that, yes, all of us like to have people that have some experience because it can go quicker, it can help us expand the message. But every one of us who does this, regardless if we started a month ago or 20 years ago, if this is our second company, assuming experience, or our 15th company, all of us had a day one. And on day one, you have to be, or when you're teaching a person on day one or coaching a person on day one, there's the educational process, first of all, about a mindset. You have a world of people that, whether they acknowledge it or not, are used to being regulated their behavior by a job. A job, you don't have to really change your thinking and become a self-motivated individual to show up, because the motivation is that if you don't, they will fire you at some point. So there's that educational process for many people, changing their mindset to becoming self-motivated, self-employed, being able to create a picture of what it is you're working toward versus somebody giving you, this is what you have to do by Friday and here's your deadline. They have to learn about the products to a point. You don't want to become a product expert. You don't have to go to MIT and become the professor, but you have to know what they are and kind of what they do and get exposed to them. You have to understand not necessarily exactly how the comp plan works. I advocate against that, because nobody needs to go to MIT and be a product, and a compensation plan expert. But you have to understand the function of it insofar as what you're building and how it's going to compensate you, and people have to learn that. So if they had to go out and learn a lot about a product, if it was the lead product, to me it was how much can you be expected to teach or learn as a part-time person looking to transition your life. So I always loved products that almost could explain themselves or filled into something that excited people. Who doesn't want more energy? Who doesn't want to get rid of wrinkles in 2 minutes?
Right.
As opposed to, I love nutrition. I think it's great, but I take it. But I've always liked it to be something that once people were in the family, you could get around to, because there's a product I take today. It's a great product. I believe it's great for my health. But I'll never forget that I was taking it for like 30 days, and they called me and said, what do you think? And I said, well, I don't want to be the bad guy, but honestly, I don't think I felt anything. And they said to me, that's great. And I said, it's great? That means you're pretty healthy. If you were sick, you really would have felt something. So that means you're in pretty good health, and it's going to be a great preventative to keep you healthy. Which is good news, but I just didn't know how, if that was really going to sell a lot of people. So when I look at it, I step back and say, what is something that the most people can do? That's why I love Hot Market. That's why I've taught it for years. And I think that skincare, forget how great Instantly Angels is. If you look at not just network marketing companies, although every company that's gotten to $1 billion and held it with the exception of one was in skin health or skincare to some degree or went into it at some point. That's a fact. But if you take a step out of that, you'll realize that skincare has always been a loyalty-based, growing business no matter what the economy was doing. Charles Revson coined it in the Depression. He called it the lipstick factor. And what he realized was that women and men now, because that's the fastest growing segment of skin health, but it wasn't when Charlie started Revlon, so we'll go with that, was that as women give up things to take care of their families, what they didn't give up was brands and products they were in love with. And if you go through a woman's, even a man's today, bathroom, you'll find certain products that they don't really care if they change. You know, cleanser's a cleanser. Typically, women will use the cleanser of the brand that they fell in love with, that that product they can't live without. But the products they can't live without, once they get hooked on, they're very hard to take away. So the way that a brand is built today is to introduce something that's a flagship, can't live without product once people experience it. And with Jeunesse, oddly enough, that is the serum, not the Instantly Ageless. If you have to look at the product that people long term will never be without once they use it, and their numbers reflect it. If you go back 5 years, the reorder ratio, the conversations, and that product, long before Instantly Ageless came along, built that company, and everything else that's come behind it was really built on the back of that serum that people won't live without. In the business, out of the business, doesn't matter. Now, still, it's not an expensive product. Every woman who loves skincare would tell you. But for a brand new person, it's still a conversation. When you brought Instantly Ageless out, which is a monkey could sell it, for lack of a better way, if they could give you a sign that, you know, if they could show you the video, it had an instructional video, you don't have to say one word. If you're talking about what it does, you're interrupting people being able to watch what it does. And it's so friggin' dramatic that everybody wants to try it, and it's packaged in such a way that everybody can, very affordably, at really minimal cost to the person who's the distributor if you're sampling it, and at minimal cost to the person who's trying it if you're selling it. So it works either way, and that brings a person in, which immediately can lead them to this flagship product that lasts forever, which is the Luminesce. And when you back that up with the unique, when you say Mint was hot because of a great energy drink and because of a culture that you all built. And when you marry the two together, it's an unstoppable combination. It's truly an unstoppable combination. And yes, it takes a while to figure out. And yes, there are people that are resistant to change. But what I want you to accept and understand is that there's always change, and there's always the next level, and there's always things that happen. And people that have an and this is what I was talking about with false expectations. If people are not accepting of that, if they do not go into everything understanding that a plan is good, a daily method of operation is essential, but everything is subject to having to be adaptable to the person you're in front of, to the marketplace, to the things that come along, then there will always be a change or the monkey wrench that's thrown in that will cause that person to quit on the road to success, whatever it is. My father used to call it same yenta, different dress. You didn't know which dress was going to make her say, I'm not going to the prom. You just knew there was one that she was going to put on that was going to make her say, I can't go looking like this, and she wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
You know, and then got mad because the prom didn't cancel. They still had the dance. Everybody else had fun, even though she wasn't there, because instinctively she wants to believe that if she doesn't go, that the whole thing's supposed to not happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And that's the thing that's hardest and most important that people accept. I'm not saying that every company is for every person, folks. I've always said the most important thing in this order is that you have to have a good company. Pick a good company. You happen to be with a great company. The numbers are and the expansion around the world. I can make a list this long of what makes this company great. And I could also make a list of things that are challenging with it, because that's endured by every company on its way to greatness, and every day that it's in business there are challenges. And we can talk about Target, Walmart, Burger King, and the donut shop on the corner, and we will have the same list.
Yeah.
It's when the list of things that aren't working is longer than the list of things that are that there's a problem. But as long as this list is longer, the business grows and goes on and goes on and goes on. But once you've picked a good company that resonates with you, the next important thing, of course, is that you have a great team of partners. The success team that you are working with, the team of mentors that you are working with, so that you are not the issue, so that you are part of a team to take it forward. And of course, the next thing is that you go out and get it done. So I'm not suggesting that every company is the answer for everybody. And sometimes people make changes for a variety of reasons. You know, just like there's a great guy and a great girl, and they get married and it doesn't work, which doesn't mean they can't go on and find other partners and have really successful marriages and be the people they were destined to be, although it didn't work together. But when people are constantly repeating the same pattern over and over again, basically because it's not sunny every day and sometimes it rains, at that point, you have to kind of look in the mirror and plant your flag and make a stand to change your life for you, because the hardest thing to realize is when you come to the understanding that companies are getting so successful and so large that with or without you, they're going to happen. And I've been there. I've been at the beginning of a number of companies where I think that my contribution really made a difference in them getting off the ground. But I also was there when I became totally irrelevant. And it didn't matter what happened to me because they were going to go on with or without me. And honestly, that's what I work for. I want to work. I want to be irrelevant. I want to know that I can leave for 6 months and people in countries that have never heard of me and never will hear of me are doing the business great, and I get to make money, because that's what we're all talking about. But once you realize that it's going to happen with or without you, you start to feel sometimes that maybe you're not being taken seriously or not important, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. But you have to be part of making it work better. Every time you pick up a phone and there's a challenge, are you picking up the phone to work towards solution so that people can go back to work and make it work and see through it, or are you picking up the phone to complain about it? Are you acting in ways that move the team forward? Not being Pollyannic, but helping people to see that their position, while understandable, is ill-conceived, ill-informed, and really makes no sense? Do we honestly expect a company to bring in a whole company the size of Mint Mona V to have the kind of growth they're having and not have customer service issues?
Right.
Even if they could hire all of those people overnight to cover that kind of increase in call volume, are all those people overnight through osmosis supposed to understand everything there is to understand about how to answer all those questions without a learning curve involved? Do we not expect that there's going to be some lag time? Is that not what would be normal? If there's a solution to minimize that or make that not happen, who has it? I'm sure the company or anybody else would listen. Now, I talked to Wendy yesterday, and they're now answering calls in 1:35 seconds.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
You know, but that's a time lag. I mean, and they actually have moved 80 people into the new building that is not even done and won't be done for some time, just so they could bring more people on and deal with the customer service issue. Now, anybody, if they had taken a step back, would have realized that that was going to happen. Right. That A, there were going to be huge problems, and B, they were going to get them fixed, and C, that that was going to take some time. So that was a temporary situation. And like you said, Rob, it's got a lot better. For those that stuck it out, look where you're at today.
Yeah.
For those that didn't, whatever company they're going to, if they're lucky enough to have that kind of growth, if they're lucky enough to get into momentum, if they're lucky to have all those things happen, guess what? You're going to go through it there or anywhere that you go. So those are the kinds of things that I was talking about. Now, I see that you're having a lot of Fountain of Youth parties.
Yeah.
I like the name. You know, I always said if somebody could find the Fountain of Youth in this space, wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah. So tell me, just so I can catch up, because I've got a good idea of how they operate. You know, I follow very closely. But I know a lot of people are doing those right when they get started, right, Tiffany?
Yeah, we are, whenever they sign up, we get them to sign up for their Fountain of Youth party in the first week to 2 weeks, depending on their schedules or whatever. But they're doing them, they start inviting the night that they sign up to their fountain.
Brand new person knows nothing, is inviting right away, and I'm guessing that when they call somebody and tell them, you know, we found the fountain of youth and can help you look younger in 2 minutes, that they don't have to know a lot more, right? People just kind of do that.
They're like one of, actually, a friend of mine who was a boss of mine over 30 years ago, she came to our house because she was like, oh, I have nothing better to do, and, you know, I've been watching you guys for years and years, and I've seen you guys be able to quit your jobs and do this full time and be at home with your kids and your grandson. And so she sent out the 2-minute video to a bunch of her friends, and they were like, we want more. People that were out of state send us samples. The other ones, they came to her Fountain of Youth party that she had on Wednesday, and then last night, and then she actually has scheduled another one for next week because there were some people that couldn't come, so she's like, perfect, I'm having another one next week. And so
100% enrollment. So
yeah.
Sorry, what happened?
100% enrollments last night for her.
You know what's interesting? You just said some. Let me break the formula down to something that I learned when I first got started. You know, when I first got started in network marketing, I was no different than anybody else. I wanted to understand everything about the comp plan and everything else, and I said to somebody, can you just break down the formula for me, because I like the they said, oh sure, little activity equals little money, good activity equals an income, monster activity equals monster money, and don't confuse, you know, activity productivity with getting ready to do things activity. I'm like, okay. Somehow I thought it was going to be a lot more intricate and exciting than that. You know, I thought there'd be some graphs and some pie charts and, you know, some MIT stuff. And it's so true, because he got into action right away. People came over. People signed up, which is always a good result, and that happens. But another one has already been booked. Now, out of curiosity, since this was your old boss and you've talked to her for years and years and years, I'm assuming that this was not the first time you approached.
Actually, she approached you.
She approached me because she's always, we've talked and stayed in contact. She's known about my female health problems and stuff, and we've just remained really good friends, and she just was more of a watcher. And so I just kind of took it from there, you know, because I had invited her before to things, and this time she actually reached out and said, I want more information.
I want to look younger.
Perfect, yeah.
I want to look younger is what she said.
If I can extrapolate from that story, getting into action right away with something that is simple to do, with a product that creates a wow factor excitement, and the rest is just sort of happening. So she's truly getting, and that's the thing, action breeds necessity to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you learn while you're doing, you teach while you're doing. It just, people always say, well, you know, how do you duplicate and how do you duplicate? It's a funny thing. Duplication happens where there's activity and necessity. Right. You know, we duplicate human speech. Yeah. Our kids are around us, and they hear us talking. One day they're talking, they go to school, everybody talks, and can you imagine if rather than just talking so the kids could talk, we sat down silently while we were figuring out on paper, well, how should we teach the kid to talk? And we spent hours getting ready so that we could sit down with them for 30 minutes and say, hello. Hello. You know, hello. And the entire planet would be stone cold idiots because everybody would be working on the lesson rather than just doing so it could duplicate. Yeah. And that's really, you know, the method to the madness. So the parties are doing very, very well. And I'm
one thing you said, Lisa, was, you know, one thing that really struck for us was she didn't need to know everything. She didn't need to know what was in the Instantly Ageless. She didn't want to know what was in the EMB energy drinks. But you said something a minute ago that really hit home for us. So over the years, what we've done, you know, you mentioned activity. Over the years, we've ran contests for people to see who can get the most no's in a week, you know, and we'll give some great prize. And we had this one guy who every single week thought he was going to win. He goes, Rob and Tiff, I'm winning the no contest this week, and I'm going to Park City for the weekend on you, or whatever we gave away. And so what happened was is he thought he was going to win this contest every week, and so what happened is that his activity actually created sponsorships, and then he gets to the end of the week. He gets to the end of the week, and he says, "Oh my gosh, these new people I sponsored are cutting into my no-getting time, and then I lose." So activity. Yeah, right. So it's the activities that was creating sponsorships, and so if people are just active, you don't have to know anything. I don't know the comp plan at Jeunesse. I don't need to. I know I get paid every single week, and I just know, I got to go talk to people. That's it. So you don't have to know everything.
Now, it's funny that you should mention that, because this is kind of informal compared to what we normally do, because I have been, and I'm sure Curtis went over it with you, but I've been on this 20-hour kick lately. Did Curtis talk about the 20 hours?
Yep.
Okay, so I watched this TED Talk, and it made sense to me, but I went out and validated it, read the research, because it was the most exciting thing I'd ever read, because I have to be very honest, Malcolm Gladwell and his 10,000 hours depressed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really depressed me. And I look back now, and again, it's the expectation thing. I'm not really sure why, because I've certainly put 10,000 hours into this to be somewhat of an expert, and I'm more of an expert on the business of network marketing, certainly, than building one, although I think I'm pretty good at it, as you guys are. You're probably you're better at the actual building of a network marketing business than I am, because you put more time into that. I think I'm very good at the business of network marketing, and I know a lot of good people over the years, and like you, I'm willing to talk to everybody.
Right.
So, you add that all together. But I read it, and I thought, because you want to be good at more than one thing. I think that's probably what upset me when I read it, was I read it wrong. We interpret things and we just read it wrong, or we interpret it wrong. And I didn't want to be like good at one thing in my life. And 10,000 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
And then when I read this other study and I watched this TED Talk, I realized, 10,000 hours if you want to be Michael Jordan, and that's fair. Yeah. 10,000 hours if you want to be Eric Worre or Orrin Woodard, and that's fair. 10,000 hours if you want to be Gordie Howe or, Serena Williams, and that's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be Serena Williams. I just like to play tennis.
Right.
And be able to hit the ball back and get my serve in. And when I saw this, it lit me up, because I realized why so many people fail. It comes back to that false expectation. First of all, we count prep time as necessary. We just count too much of our prep time as actually doing something when we're evaluating how much time we put in. Because it really isn't, it's part of the process, but it's not part of the action. But if you really put 20 hours into something, actually physically doing it, you really do have enough skill to be proficient. And that's where most people fall down. And when you can get people to activity right away, before they've done the 20 hours and gone through the mediocre, feeling incompetent stage with enough excitement, that the excitement makes them forget how incompetent they feel. And by the time they start to think about that, they're passed through it. That's why I love an easy product to get people in, an easy thing to invite people to. I love parties and get-togethers, because I think it's so intimidating as a new person on both sides to go to a business briefing. It's hard to invite somebody to one right away sometimes. Not the online. I think webinars and things helped a lot with that. And I think it's also hard to do it. If you're doing the business briefing, you feel this need to be so professional, and like so much is on your shoulders. But to have people over and to share some stuff, we're creatures of social. We know how to do that.
Right.
So this 20 hours thing sort of revolutionized my thinking, because people can see themselves doing it. And it comes back to something else I've been on all year, which is this: we don't get what we want, we get what we picture, which I think is 100% true. And I think anybody who's ever achieved anything, if they sit down and think about it, will say, yeah, I saw that. I didn't articulate it out that way, but I saw it before it happened. And people can picture themselves putting in 20 hours. They may not like it. It may be 20 awful hours. If I had to go to boot camp and go through 20 hours of the physical activity, I don't think I'd want to sign up. But if I had to, I could see myself doing it because I can check off 20 hours. If you told me I needed to put in 10,000 hours or even 500 hours, that seems unattainable, and you have to wonder, okay, if I did that, if I committed that much of my life to something that sounds like something I'm really not going to enjoy, what's the payoff? And people can't really envision the payoff as being great. Does it really seem like it's worth it? But what is it worth 20 hours?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that that's changing it around a lot. So daily method of operation, how is that going? Is everybody doing a pretty good job of deploying in the daily method of operation that you and Curtis and Travis have been doing, you know, such an effective job of? And I'll say the word, hammering. And we hammer this for a reason, folks, because consistency trumps everything else.
Yeah, we've got a great promotion running right now. We're giving away some Apple iPhone watches. So
I heard about that on top of the Shoot for Sapphire promotion. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So you're going to get $6,000
From the company,
and then you're going to get an Apple Watch from Team Legacy. So we've got some great activity promoting things going on right now that have really, we've known locally here. One of the things that's really neat for us is we've never really had a team locally here in Utah. It's always been spread out. So what's happened now is, and it was funny because this still happens, but people show up at our house that we haven't seen in years and say, hey, I want to try that stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing a lot of things, a lot of the you know, Travis talked about this today, but the J Mobile app, I mean, that is the greatest app I've ever seen to build a business. I mean, you can literally go through your contact list and text out that 2-minute Instantly Ageless video, the story of Janess.
Watch it.
You get a notification when it's watched. I gotta tell you, the tools, you know, that we have to build this company are pretty incredible. So you're seeing a lot of different activities with a lot of people. I've seen a great increase on 3-way calls recently. We've been on just a super amount of great, you know, calls with leaders that are in other companies, you know, that are looking at, hey, what we did at MYNT, and hey, that team was really
carrying it over.
Yeah, that team was really cool over there. What they're doing there, that legacy. Well, I want to. Now they're with a company that, hey, I like that Janess product. So how cool would this be to work with these guys? So
the culture that you all developed was so distinctive and so spot on. And I really believe, you know, Janess is very hot. Nobody can deny that. Fantastic company, tremendous owners. I think a lot of things that people don't realize are the most important things they have now pat. But for you, I believe that you guys really have the opportunity to be new again twice.
Yeah.
And you know, because everybody obviously in Janess has great products, great ownership to deal with. But a lot of people have been telling that story, even with the Instantly Ageless, back to October now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for you guys, it's relatively new. Your story is not only a little bit different, it's new for your team of people to be telling it, which means it's new for their contacts and the enthusiasm. A lot of the other people out there have been telling it quite a while. Their contacts have sort of either decided to try it and take a shot with the company, or decided to wait or to not do it at all. And so you're coming in with fresh eyes, fresh voices, a very culture-driven training in the U.S. at a time when that wasn't really going on within the U.S. at Janess at large. So I think, I don't want to say that you have an advantage over other people, because you never want to, say that your fortune is someone else's misfortune. But I will say that you have a timing and a connectivity as a team and an infrastructure in place that, when you marry it to all of the tools, as you said, that Janess has available, gives you a precision-based marketing strategy that is unparalleled. And I think for a lot of people, that's what I started out saying, and then we started talking about all these other things I think are so important. When people work and operate in 60 to 90-day time frames, which is really kind of sad in many ways and kind of good in many ways. Everything is a season. You have to give things a season, figure them out, and gel it. Doesn't mean you stop, because the only way you come to good solutions is you work through them. We can all sit around a room and come up with all these great ideas and solutions on paper. But only when the rubber meets the road can you make the adjustments and see how everything works out. And that takes about 60 to 90 days, which is what you guys have been doing, which is what Jeunesse has been doing through this merger. And a lot of people don't understand that because they only give themselves 60 to 90 days to make something work, which is the part that's kind of sad. Because now, just when everything is gelling and you're now marching toward events, you know, that are coming up and things that are happening, and that's one of the things that Jeunesse is so good at. I believe they have such a strong calendar, you know, with the way that their events go to their events, to their events, to their events, that there's always something coming up in 90 days to play into and align with that human nature philosophy of the way that people operate. But just about now, going into the dog days of summer, everything is really perfect. You've got a system that works. You've got a team that's been working together long enough that you know each other's rhythms. You've got tools that are together. 100% perfect. They'll never be 100% perfect, but they're working well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when a lot of people say, "Oh, it's summer," and they kind of coast back. And I'm not saying not to enjoy your summer, but because you have this get-together philosophy that goes with cookouts, because you've got something that women will talk about no matter where they are, I could market this product on airplanes.
Oh,
Wherever there are women who are worried about how they look, which is everywhere, you could find women who are in the Mideast who are covered up to here, and they care more about what their eyes look like. It's the only thing anybody can see.
Yeah.
You know, you got
one of the ladies last night said that she was at a business meeting last weekend, and she goes, there was over 120 women there, and I would have invited them all up to my room, and you would have had to come and put this on all of them, and I could have sold 120 boxes if I had it last weekend. And it's true, because we are unfortunately vain to a point. Everyone is, and she could have, you know, and so she was ready to go last night.
And I'll tell you, the one thing that I would put together, and I'd probably do it online in one of those little flip books if I could do anything online. And when I say this, it's a euphemistic. It's me getting somebody who actually is not a techno idiot to do for me. So understand, I don't want to reply that I can do anything beyond sending an email, which I still have problems with.
We need.
If you like Instantly Ageless with some pictures of the one eye and the other eye, you're going to love Luminesse. And then I would have all those before and after pictures of people with the serum with their face. And I'd give that and I'd send that to every single person who ever tried or bought Instantly Ageless.
Yeah. Because that's ultimately, you know, the Instantly Ageless is great. It's a temporary fix. But the Luminesse line with the serum is reversing the aging process.
It's your long term. It's a 1-2 punch. And, you know, as always, fortune is the follow-up. And if there's one caveat to a product that excites so many people, that moves so quickly, you can get so caught up in that a lot of people may never find out about the flagship. And the reason I bring that up is network marketing. We're not going to we can do massive numbers, make a great amount of sales, but we're still never going to change human nature.
Yeah.
And the question you're always asking yourself is, when the zest and excitement for building or whatever it is we're doing fades for most people, what are they going to do forever? And I believe what women will do forever. For men, it's, you know, maybe it's the energy drink, probably. Although that's changing. But for women, it's going to be the Luminesse.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Luminesse. So I believe that long term, every person, and you know, you don't want to hit them right away, of course, but every person who gets excited by Instantly Ageless, if, like I said, that's why I do it in a pictorial piece, because it's easy to do. Just one of those flip things. If you liked Instantly Ageless and you show all the pictures, you'll love Luminesse, and just all those wonderful before and after pictures. Just to get everybody's email address, just send them, you know, to take a look at where they can look at the pictures, because that's when they try, many people will get an auto ship that never quits, regardless of what else they do.
Yeah.
And that leads us back to something that you told me, gosh, a year ago or 2 years ago maybe, about a year and a half ago, you says, I don't know if you remember this, but you said network marketing is a function of consumption. And I've never got that. And you're
also,
right.
and here's my other thing I always remind people. Whatever you do, you want to teach people to reach their maximum potential. That's our goal. But the reality is, we always want to build our model to based on the minimum that people can do. What is the minimum that they can do with the least amount of effort for the greatest gain?
Right.
And that's why skincare, every company that's done $1 billion has either got, except one, has either gotten into skincare or gone there, because potentially the greatest gain for the least amount of effort in life is washing your face and putting something on it that's going to have a great result for you. You didn't have to deprive yourself of food. You didn't have to lift a weight. You didn't have to walk around the block. You didn't have to do anything to look and feel better other than splash a product on your face, which is why women buy it by the truckload.
Yeah.
That great potential upside with very little deprivation or suffering or anything. It's just the minimum factor.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, you know, the way it is. So with that, I know I want to thank everybody. I know your time is valuable. I would say for the next week that I like, Rob, I'd go back to see how many no's you can get. You're not going to get a lot when you're leading with Instantly Ageless, but it's good to try. You know, the yeses come on the road to no. And how many people that you can go back to and just, you know, make sure that they take a look at the two-punch part of the 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
I think that you'll amaze yourself with your numbers. And how many of you, if you're not in contention already, can put yourselves in contention to get $6,000 and a watch? And by the way, if you don't get the shooting for the watch, only gets you the $6,000 because somebody else won the watch. This is good.
Yeah. So we're excited.
If we need to get together soon.
Yes.
We just want you to know that Park City's calling your name right now. Tell Curtis that.
I'm in the States I'm going to be back in the States January 25th, and I'm there till August 27th. And there's only 2 weekends I'm booked with speaking, maybe 3, but all the other time I'm flexible. So.
Well, and I think either Park City or I'm thinking Las Vegas, the avocado tree.
I'm actually going to be in Vegas the weekend of the 20th. Because Marina's women's event, so come to the event, Tiff, or come before or after. We can have fun.
I know, right?
The train is calling our name.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, she loves that.
My favorite sushi dish, whatever you call it, on the entire planet, including Tokyo.
Oh, wow. It's good. It's good. I love that place.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, when we all meet up in Vegas, we'll take you.
Yeah. Until then, it's a secret. Well, we love you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
We love you.
We appreciate everything you and Curtis do. And
together because we don't see each other enough.
I know. Well, we appreciate you guys.
All right. Okay. Sounds good. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.